come in, and welcome to the Chaston Centre. I'm Karen Chaston. We love to assist people to move beyond any kind of loss and create their better everyday life. Now, many people think that death is loss, and they are correct, but there are over 40 different loss events that can affect all of our lives. It could be a death of a loved one, or a separation, a divorce, your job loss, your health, your wealth, your pets. Or during the recent 2-year pandemic, a lot of the minor loss events came to the forefront. Loss of freedom, choice, status, identity, changing work conditions, recreational and social activities. Now, we've all been affected by those loss events, yet most of us have a lack of loss intelligence, which means that we can find ourselves in avoidance, suffering in silence, affecting all areas of our lives, our health, our wealth, our job, our relationships, and wondering how on earth can we get back to normal. But I guess by now we all realize there is no going back. We can learn from the past, but moving forward, we need and require completely different tactics to move forward. And that's what I want to talk to you today. I want to talk to you about looking at your life and taking all of these loss events that have happened in the past, learning from them and empowering yourself, as opposed to just allowing life to, just let you sort of bop along and just see where life takes you. Because when you are empowered, you then know who you are, you know where you're going, you can see where you've been, you can learn from where you've been, but that doesn't define who you are going to be now and in the future. And that's what empowerment is all about. And I feel that sometimes we give our empowerment over to other people. We allow them to tell us whether we're empowered or not. Whereas in reality, we empower ourselves. Before I get into the ways that you can empower yourself and to ensure that you are creating your most perfect life, I'd like to tell you a little bit about me and how I became a beyond loss expert. Because let's face it, I don't think there's any children at school going, I want to do what Karen's doing. I want to become a beyond loss expert. So let's deep dive into it. And in order to do that, we need to go back about 10 years, or just over 10 years to be quite honest. So back in July 2011, I was a CFO of a publicly listed company. Now, CFO is a chief financial officer. So in reality, I was the head accountant in this beautiful publicly listed company, and I loved my job. I spent so much time at my job. It was lucky that I loved my job. And in reality and in hindsight, I spent way too much time at my job because the other areas of my life were being affected by how much I worked. Not that I realized it at the time. At the time, I now refer to those times as me living in a Groundhog Day, where most people tend to live in these Groundhog Day days, where each day sort of is similar to the other. You get up, you go to work, you have lunch, you keep working, you come home, you have a bit of dinner, and before you know it, you may sit down in front of the TV or you might go out with friends, but before you know it, you're back in bed and then you start it all over again. And each day seems to roll into the other. Sound familiar? And then you're so busy doing that you're not actually sitting back and going, do I really love my life? Is this the life that I designed or wanted to design when I was a lot younger? Or have I just allowed life to sweep me along and go to this job and do this and grab this house? And, before you know it, you have this amazing job and all these sort of things. But deep inside, you're not really fulfilled. You have like a little hole inside of you, or this little drum sort of beating, going, when are you going to start loving your life? When are you going to start loving your life? When are you going to start really loving your life? When are you really going to start to be who you came here to be? Good question, isn't it? Because I remember that drum. And I remember I would sort of quieten the drum by working more, eating more, or drinking even more. Is that what we're all here to do? It does appear to be that way, because let's face it, they, here in Australia, and I'm pretty sure in most of the world, when we locked everything down, we kept the bottle shops open, we kept the fast food places open. We, didn't even get people to be healthy. No, we just kept them going on that treadmill. So let's make 2022 your year when you empower yourself. So back in July 2011, my husband and I woke up on the 10th of July thinking we were going to have a lazy Sunday at home. But within moments, I was running out the back door, looking at my 27-year-old son, Dan, lying there in the fetal position with saliva coming out of his mouth. We knew he was unconscious. But within moments, the paramedics arrived and they said those words that no mother, no parent ever wants to hear. I'm sorry, madam, he is dead. Probably has been for several hours. What does one do with that information? What would you do with that information? What did I do with that information? Well, the day after his funeral, I went straight back to work, eating more, drinking more, working even harder. I just carried on, because isn't that what we've been told to do for centuries and centuries and centuries? Keep busy, give it time, everything will be all right. Everything will go back to normal. But how can anything go back to normal? You've lost your beautiful 27-year-old son. No matter what loss event comes to you, it's not going to go back to normal. No one's going back to normal after this recent pandemic. We're all creating our new normal, right? And your new normal is different to my new normal. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. Unless you're just going to keep fighting and trying to get back to normal, and you're not empowering yourself. So that's what I want to talk to you about today. I want to talk to you about why it's so important for you to empower you. No one else. You empower yourself. And the first step is to actually want to empower yourself. The first step is for you to be able to walk into the mirror and give yourself the old Fonzie salute. Remember the Fonzie salute? Hey! Can you do that every single morning? Can you look at yourself in the mirror and go, hey, I like who I see? If you can, well done. Your next step is to do it naked. Yes, you heard me right. The next step is to do it naked, because that's the aim. That is the ultimate aim, for us to look at ourselves in the mirror while we're naked and really love who we see. It doesn't matter if you have those extra pounds on. It doesn't matter if you have a little wrinkle here or there or whatever is going on with you physically. It's about you seeing beyond the physicality into who you really are. That's the first step in empowering yourself. Now, I don't want you to give up on yourself and say, well, there's no way that's ever going to happen, so I guess I'll never empower myself. No, there is so much more to it, but that is our ultimate aim, and that's what we're going to get to one day. Okay, so the first step is to love yourself. And I don't mean from an ego perspective where it's all vain, vain, vain. No, what we really, really want is to be able to really like who we are and to really want to achieve our hopes, dreams, and aspirations. Because now I'm going to tell you something. And I didn't know this until I was in my mid-50s. It was about a year after Dan passed, and about probably not long after I had moved on from my much loved job. Oh, I haven't told you about that, have I? Okay, let's tell you about that. So about 15 months after Dan passed, the company that I was working for was merging with another. And during that merger process, they said to me, Karen, you're not going to be CFO in the new company, but we really want you to come with us because we want you to be doing everything you're doing now plus more. I thought to myself, do you know what? I don't really care what my title is. I really love my job and I'm really good at it. So why wouldn't I go with them? Until they gave me my contract. And my contract was for 2/3 of my current salary. And I got really angry after, first of all, sarcastically saying, I can't do this job part-time, which they didn't find funny at all. But anyway, so I got angry for about 48 hours. And then I slowly started to wake from my Groundhog Day days. And here's the thing, I had this realization. Do you know what? You're only there for the money. And if you're honest with yourself, you're wasting most of it just to get through the day, because I wasn't fulfilled. I was buying things to try and fill up this hole. I was, eating too much, drinking too much. I wasn't looking after me. And I wasn't really looking after my relationships, and every single area of my life required a lot of tweaking. So what happened was, when I started to wake up, I started to realize, if I take this job, it's going to eat me from the inside out. I'm not healthy now, but I know enough about when you're really, really not loving your job, you will end up diseased in some way. If you're unhappy, if you are stressed, if there's so many things that happens in our body that I knew that I would have become sick. I was on the fast road anyway for type 2 diabetes or a heart attack or a stroke. And my parents had had all three of them. So they were in my genes somewhere along the line. So what I did was I said no. Now that is your first step to being empowered, learning how to say no, because it's really good for you to be aware that when you're saying yes to others, more than likely you're saying no to yourself. I'm going to say it again. When you say yes to others and become a people pleaser, you're saying no to you. And that's not good, because at the end of the day, you are the only person you spend 24/7 with, no one else. So if you're giving up on your hopes, dreams, and aspirations, you're going to get to the end of your life and you're going to look back and you're going to go, oh my God, I have achieved nothing that I wanted to. Sure, I've helped everyone else achieve all of their hopes and dreams, and look at how successful they all are. But where are they? Where are they? I'm all alone. It's time for you to start to say yes to you. That is the first step. And to talk, to tell people what you want. No one's going to give it to you, especially if you don't ask for it. You want that salary increase, it's time for you to learn how to ask for it. And I'm not saying just walk in there and just say, oh, I demand this because so-and-so's on more money than me and I work harder than them. No, logically put your case together. Bring a PowerPoint display. Show them how much value you add to the company. Just make it so easy for them to say yes to that salary increase. So we're going to learn how to empower ourselves, because when we are empowered, we then create the life that we have been dreaming about, not only overall, in every single area of your life. And in the Chaston Center model, we have 9 areas of life. I purposely created 9. Do Do you know why? Because 9 is all about birthing. It takes 9 months to birth a new baby. It takes 9. 9 is our number. It's all about the end of a cycle, the start of a new one. So that's why I love number 9. But let's face it, 9 areas of life, it's a lot to remember, isn't it? So I've made it really easy for you. I've brought it down into 4 pillars. That's right. All about you, all about your relationships, all about your expertise, and all about your wealth creation. How easy is that? They are the 4 pillars for your life, the 4 pillars for you to empower. But the first one is all about you. And that's where we should start, always, all about you. So how do we make ourselves mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually empowered? Well, we start to deep dive into them all, and we look at where we are now, and then we look at where we want to be. And what are those gaps that we need to fill in order to create where we want to be? That's simple. We just come up with an action plan and we follow that action plan all the way to creating the life that we want to live. Is it easy? It's not hard. It's just about being disciplined. It's about knowing where we are, knowing where we want to be, looking back at the past so we can learn from the past. You know, when I deep dive into people's lives and into their past loss events, we learn so much, so much. We learn about things that they want to bring with them, things they want to continue doing. We learn about things that they want to stop doing. And we learn about things that they want to start doing. And the thing is that most people don't take the time to learn from the past. They're too busy blaming others about the past and not taking responsibility for what has happened up to date. And it's in the taking the responsibility that we really do start to empower ourselves, because we can see the things about ourselves and about others. We can learn so much from them. You know, I love to say that there is a lesson in everything that has happened in our lives. And when you deep dive in and you find that lesson, it's less on you. How cool is that? Our language tells us how to live our lives. But anyway, so let's keep going on how you can empower yourself, because when we empower ourselves, right, we then begin to create that life where we understand all about ourselves. Then we start on our relationships, and we start to have these most amazing relationships because we've empowered ourselves. So we're not relying on anyone else to empower who we are. But because we've empowered ourselves, we then give other people permission to empower themselves. And then we come together as 2 complete beings. We are not codependent on anyone else. We know who we are. We like who we are. We know where we're going, and we know how we're going to get there. That's what empowerment is all about. And we have those positive beliefs and understandings because we've done the work on ourselves. We take care of ourselves. We know that the key to life is keep educating yourself. We seek to understand everything that we don't understand or we don't know. Let's face it, we don't know what we don't know. And there's only one way for us to know something, and that is to continually educate ourselves. We surround ourselves with other empowered people, and that in itself gives you that amazing groundswell where you really do start to become that person that you want to become. So that's my tips for today on how to empower yourself. And if you'd like to know more, here are my details. Please reach out. You can contact me through the chastoncenter.com. You can email me at karen@karenchaston.com.au. You can see all my social media handles. You can reach out. I have these most amazing things to assist you on how to empower yourself. And my advice, remember this, always remember this. You are the only person you are going to spend your entire life with. So why are you putting yourself last and giving up on your hopes, dreams, and aspirations? I hope you take the time to find the answer to that, because that is the key for you to create your most empowered life.